Okay, in this second example of our review from section 7.1 through 7.3, we are going to be focusing on solving by graphing using our calculator. So here we have our first problem is 4x minus 2y equals 7. And Cooper, if I was going to ask you what's the problem with this in terms of graphing, my hope is you would say, hey, you know what, that's not solved for y. So let's kind of attack that and do that in this process. And let's take this 4x minus 2y equals 7, and let's solve that for y. So Christine, the first step to do that, I'm sure you could tell me, would be to get the 4x on the other side of the equation. So let's do that. And that gives us, Robert, a value of negative 2y equals negative 4x plus 7. And then the final step here would be to divide everything by 2. And so Lucas, when we divide everything by 2, you're going to notice we're dividing all 3 by 2, giving me a final answer of here of y equals, let's see, JT, negative 4 divided by negative 2 is a positive 2x. And then Mimi, 7 divided by negative 2 is negative 7 halves, or you might want to think negative 3.5. So here's our second equation down below, and I'm going to circle the other equation here that we're going to work with. All right, so Hytham, let's identify the slope here on this first one that we've circled is negative 4/3 x plus 5, and my slope is negative 4/3. And my b value, Hytham, is positive 5. And so let's graph that. So I'm going to go to positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go down 4 and over 3, and down 4 and over 3, and down 4 and over 3, and I'm off the grid. So as accurate as I can, I'm going to sketch that. I know that's not a perfect sketch, but it is fairly accurate because I put all the points on there. So now let's look at our equation that we solved, that first one, that 4x minus 2y equals 7, and that's down here at the bottom now. And my slope here, Caroline, is m equals 2, and Kanan, my y-intercept, is b equals negative 3.5. So let's graph this one, starting at negative 3.5. Now this is a little bit unusual, so I'm going to zoom way in. And here's my first point, negative 3.5. Then my slope, Jake, is still 2, so I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Notice my new point is not necessarily right on a grid spot, but up 2 over 1. And my next one I'm going to cross over 1, up 2 over 1. I'm going to continue that, and then I'm going to sketch this as accurate as I can. Now this is where the zoom feature of our surfaces actually comes in handy, because I can try to be as accurate as I possibly can with this, even though I'm ending up, obviously, our intersection point is obviously not right on a spot. Now I'm going to do a little estimation. It looks like we're a little bit more than 2.5, and it looks like we're about, a little bit above 1.5. So I'm just going to write that down, 2.5, comma, 1.5, and that is my estimate. Okay? But in saying that, I know I am going to go to my calculator now, and I'm going to graph this exactly, and I'm going to come back and we're going to see, based on my calculator, what we actually have. So let's go to our calculators, and let's put this in for y equals. Now, Anderson, when you're putting these in on your first one, I'm going to put in just normally, and when I touch my screen it turns red, so 2, the x is up in the top corner, so 2x minus 3.5. I'm going to go down to the second equation. As soon as I type it, I want you to notice that the equal sign turns black. Now my second equation, I'm going to put the opposite sign in, which is down at the bottom. Notice that's different than the minus sign. Access my fractions through alpha y equals, and then my fraction is 4/3 x plus 5. All right. Now, we've got to think about our window. And so our window right now, I'm going to go to our standard window, which is option 6. And even though this is not a squared up function, let's just do a squared up function quickly. after it draws the graph, just so you can see what this would look like. So zoom 5 will square it up. And then we're going to do and use the calc function. And VUA, I hope you remember the calc function is above the trace button. So go second trace. Okay, second trace, my fault. Second trace. And then we're going to go to which of these functions, Zach? The 5 function is the intersect. So let's go to 5. And then, Andrew, we're going to hit enter 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. There's our answer. 2.55 and 1.6. 2.55 and 1.6. So we come back to our graph and we look at our estimation. Our estimation was 2.5 and 1.5. The exact answer is 2.55. I'm going to write it over here, maybe at the bottom. 2.55, comma, 1.6. And so that is our actual answer down here at the bottom, pretty close to our estimation. So I think that's a pretty good sign that we're in good shape there.